There we go. I think it's working. Okay. YouTube. Whoop. Guess what? Not quite. That's my desktop. I didn't pop that out. There we go. All good. Okay. Good morning, David. The only person who's sort of there, ready and waiting before we start. Morning, Todd.
Morning, morning,
Good. Sound bar looks
morning.
good.
Hello, testing
Hello.
1, 2.
Testing 1, 2. Todd's still dying. There we go.
Sorry, excuse me.
Pang Cheng Kok is now following on Facebook, yes? How would you even know on what's following on Facebook, really? That's bizarre. I'm not streaming to Facebook. All these new little things that they keep on adding into the system. But anyway, yes, how is everybody? I know I don't play the little intro tune because, you know,
You need to make a new one. You need to.
I got a fade out tune. I haven't got a fade in tune. Yeah. Divina. Oh, hi guys. How you doing? Yes, I'm here. What we were going to talk about this morning is something that came up in a sort of a question sort of process on the Patreon page from one of my Patreon followers. So it makes it a bit more a priority to actually solve the question because he's a Patreon, you know, and he's asked specifically some questions about drugs in Thailand. And now I'm going to use the inverted commas drugs because I'm talking about the ones that the oligarchs, you know, are allowed to produce, apart from the ones that nature are not allowed to produce, you know.
Pharmaceutical drugs.
Pharmaceutical drugs. And, you know, attesting to sort of somebody who is a fountain of knowledge here, Todd, because of his specific condition, he needs to get specific pharmaceutical drugs, which he has found difficult to find and difficult to find alternatives. So I'm going to make a video. I'm going to make one of my weekly videos on this thing here. But today I think we might spend an hour just doing the research. I've started a little bit of research already, so I've got a bit of an idea what to throw in the video. The worst part is how do you condense something like that down to 15 minutes? But, you know, if I got all the key points that people are thinking about, then we can I can try to keep it focused with notes, you know. I did start out with a preview sort of note already, which is something I got from, of course, hold on, let me just bring that up. Go to my docs and make sure I don't miss anybody while I'm off that page. Video topics, there it is. And we'll drag that over here. So what I did is I asked, not ChatGPT, I asked Bing a particular question. Right, this is, you know, what drugs are available in the US, not available in Thailand, same for Australia, and what it's. It gives me a sort of starting point, which I thought we could start the whole process. And of course, not everybody's here yet. How many people have got? Because the gang doesn't get here for at least 10 minutes, you know. It's always a problem. So how many people have got on them? Because I just lost that little.
I've got 8 at the moment.
8. So we got the core there. Shan's there. G'day, Shan. Yes. So it applied with the thing. The pharmaceutical industry in Thailand is heavily regulated, which is, you know, one of the things that a lot of people coming to the Thailand don't realise because they don't do enough research. And there are a number of drugs that are available in the United States and Australia and probably around the world that are not available in Thailand. We could posit a whole bunch of reasons for that, partly to do with the fact that China copies a lot of the pharmaceutical inventions that are coming out of America from all the oligarchs, and then flood the market with cheap copies. A typical one would be paracetamol. Okay, we can get Tylenol, which is the American brand of Tylenol, but can you get Panadol? No, you can't get Panadol. That's a brand, but you can get a Thai version of paracetamol. Well, it is. I think it actually. I've got a packet here somewhere. Yes, Tylenol. This is the Tylenol little strips you get from 7-Eleven when you get a headache. Yes, I get a headache every so often. Got to find them in my junk. But yes, I thought we'd start out and throw the question out there and talk about, the types of drugs, can and can't be, acquired here in Thailand. Now it's a bit of a strange system as well. I'm just trying to use nice words. It's a strange system they got here. Starting out with the fact that, in Australia we have our GPs and we have our pharmacists, and then we have our hospitals, and we have our clinics, which is pretty much and of course in the specialties, right? And if you have a headache, you would go to the doctor, right, in his little clinic or in his house or wherever it is. Then he was to say, yeah, well, you've got a migraine or you've got too much Thailand in your head.
Yeah.
Here, take this, take 2 of these and call me in the morning. But he would give you a script, and then you would run down to the pharmacy, and then you'd give it to the pharmacist. Here, doctor said I can have these drugs. Please give me these drugs. And then he would go away. He says, come back in 10 minutes, and then it's in a nice little box or pill box or whatever, and it says take 2 of these 3 times a day and away you go and you're happy. Thailand doesn't work like that. No. If you have if I had exactly the same situation occur, I have too much Thailand in my head, so what do I do? Well, me being self-medicated, I would just take a couple of Tylenol, see how I am, a couple of hours later. But if I wasn't my own self-medicating type of entity, I would then go to the chemist, the pharmacist. We completely skip the doctor altogether. And you sort of talk to them, you say, look, I've got too much Tylenol in my head. How do I make it go away? And she just pull out a strip of Tylenol. Here, take 2 of these, and they give you a little thing. And they when they do the drugs, they give you, put it in a little plastic bag and put your name on it and everything else, and say,
these things.
Yeah,
these things.
Yeah, and you're usually quite happy. But then, of course, I have one thing that I always do, because I say what I'm looking for. In my case, because I have, an overactive stomach and produces more acid than most people. I've got to keep that at bay with a protein. No, not with a. What am I using? It's a beta blocker or a protein pump inhibitor. I can't remember. No, beta blocker.
Gaviscon or something.
Yeah, no, I'm using a beta blocker, which is omeprazole. It's a 20 milligram, and I take that daily, and that just keeps me at a nice level pace. I can eat, I can drink, I can do all the right things. If I have too much alcohol, then I pay for it the next day, if you know what I mean. If I have too much alcohol and too much cannabis, I pay for it the next day. If I have, you get the whole idea. So when it comes to the drugs, I like to get on to the drugs.com, or there's different pharmacy bodies that you can actually investigate the drugs. So omeprazole. If I use one, so I think it's drugs.com. That's right, and you put the thing omeprazole, because I can't spell it. Omeprazole. Right, so it's the validity omeprazole. Get rid of them. I don't want your ads. Right. Omeprazole used to treat excessive stomach acid in conditions such as non-cancerous stomach ulcers. No, I don't have an ulcer. Gastroesophageal reflux order, which is what I have, and active. Okay, it says it's a. It used to say what it was, and it's a protein pumping inhibitor. Or, works by blocking gastric acid production in the form of medicines called protein pump inhibitor. Yeah, that's what it is. So basically it stops the production of stomach acid. Okay, Shan, what are you saying? I cannot get 2 of the 4 medications I take in Thailand. The other 2, one is cheaper here and the others are 9,000 baht a month versus 650 baht a month. I fly to 60 to fill, really. You got the 2 names of those if you want to share that, Shan. Be interesting to actually look at those drugs. Yeah. So this is the one I take, and then I probably take it for a couple of weeks, and it's I have this sort of cycle that sort of probably goes with my biorhythms. We talk about manic depressive type of disorders. I've had what they call this ebb and flow throughout my life. I have high points and low points. And when I have a high active point, which I'm right now, right, I've got to take omeprazole because my body is in a hyperactive state. When I'm in a less active state, then I don't need to take it because my body's not running as fast, if that makes any sense. I've learned to look at the signs in my body, so I'm not constantly on omeprazole. I just take it when I see the signs, if you know what I mean. Okay, what is it? Good morning, Mick. Okay, levothyroxine is available, but the dosage strength is very limited to 50. They put a little heart thing, little pop-up on the side of the chat box now, but I can't see that word. 50-something 100 microgram increments. Anyway, yeah, we'll have to look at that one. But yeah, so getting back to the omeprazole, so I take this when I need to, when I don't need to, and I stop taking it. And it goes in this cycle. I used to take Zantac in Australia. That was the drug I used to have before I went on to omeprazole. G'day, Mark. And Zantac not only was banned in Thailand, never available in Thailand, it actually has been recently, about 2 years ago, it was actually banned in the US because they said it had potential to cause some particular problem. What was it, Zantac? Z-A-N-T-E-C, was it Zantac? Yeah, Zantac. Warnings, recalls customer information. So I used to take this one, which again was available in Australia, but it's not available anywhere. This is where I changed over to omeprazole. I would have liked to probably been on omeprazole in the early days because if I'd known about omeprazole's capabilities, right, I probably would have been able to avert some of the later stages of the GERD that I do suffer from. Right, because it is one of those sort of things. It's accumulative. Your body builds up patterns, and then your patterns, right, become ingrained, and you've got to break those patterns. Just like eating, if you start to eat a little bit more than you need to, then you burn off, then you start to gain weight. It takes like 12 months to reverse that if you do it naturally. I got down to 75 kilo. I'm actually sitting quite stable now at 75 kilo, which was my target weight. So anyway, that was just a side. Oh, was it Shan? On me back and night at a day plant. I get this. Okay, right. Zamuet. Anyway, I'll be looking at this information later in the stream so I can put these names in there. But yeah, getting back to the whole thing, so it's a whole bunch of drugs here in Thailand, and there's a whole bunch of drugs in the rest of the world, and there's a square block fitting in a round hole here sort of thing going on. And the first thing I'd like to sort of say is if you're going to be doing a long-term stay here in Thailand, you do need to come here and do the groundwork first, because there's a million drugs out there, and there's no one place that you're going to find that information. What I'm going to try to do is if I go to Bard again, right, let's just use one of those ones. Where's that? Is, if I, JANUMET XR. Oh, got the fucking capital log on. In Thailand. I can't type today. Available. Dude, Bard is a lot slower than ChatGPT. Is available in Thailand. It is a prescription drug that is used to lower blood sugar levels. So it's a type 2 diabetes. Yeah, okay. It is a combination of two drugs. You can get German from a pharmacy in Thailand. You'll need a prescription from your doctor. The price of German. So there's one that is available. Right. So what we can do is we can change the Control C. Control C. What was another one? So let's use one. Fentanyl.
Well, it's normally, when I did my research coming over, it's the code 1 pharmaceuticals, such as your, what are they? Having a mental blank, the brain's not kicked in. I've only had one cup of tea. I've run out of coffee. First world issues. I do not have a coffee. Bear with me. Opioids. Opioids are a code 1. So that's the one that I found is a major crackdown.
Right, so this is the thing. Now, Bard said narcotics strictly regulation use of many prescriptions are not available in the country. This includes, right? This is the thing. This is why I'm still testing Bard out, because I find its answers are really quite weird, right? It says fentanyl is not available in Thailand, and then in this thing here, fentanyl is available in Thailand. So you've got to ask the question. So let's go to, was it ChatGPT? Is it, before I haven't logged into it for a while. Session's expired. Log in. Continue. Right. Now, available in Thai. That doesn't really give me an answer. What I wanted was that one, the whole question. No. Yeah, she always liked to qualify this September 21, yeah. It is a pattern of in Thailand, the regulations available on medications can change over time. As of my last day, fentanyl was available at the time, but under strict medical supervision and prescription. It is classified as a controlled substance due to the potential misuse and abuse. For the most accurate and up-to-date information, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so, they're both agreeing on that. Look, again, anytime you're using these tools, there is a rule on the internet that you need to adopt. Now, my rule is the rule of 3. Follows over from pagan stuff, okay. The rule of 3 means the fact that you go to 3 independent sources, right, and then you make your final judgment call, right. And when I say independent sources, I would classify these language models as good independent sources, because they're all using different fed-in information, and they're all controlled a different way. They're not a person given an answer or some sort of YouTube, expert. These are the collected works and informations of, what's written in science and medical journals. So if you're going to start this is the groundwork you do. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get our group to really sort of do some work. So get to work. You want the links? You got Bard. You got what's another one? This is another one here. Just a minute. Yeah, verify that I'm a human. Yeah, okay. Right. And this is another language model. I'm not quite sure which. I think this is based on ChatGPT 3.5. They're not produced locally and imported by the FDA, mostly from Europe. Okay, so it gave me a little bit more information. So it's not actually produced in Thailand. So yeah, so this is where I find these language models work. We're not discussing language models. These are, we can do this another day. If you want to do language models and how my brain functions and how I, scour the internet for information, this is sort of what I do. Alas, I can't use these things here for getting game tips. Well, it does some game tips, but not all game tips, if you know what I mean. Anyway, I'm missing what's going on in the chat over here. So necessary medication. There we are. Yeah, g'day. Yeah, exit to Thailand. G'day. Mick Herbert. Robert Groves is in the house. I was 75 kilos. I would blow in the wind. Some people are meant to be big boned. Come on.
Well, when I was in the military, I always had to go to the sick bay and get a chit because I was always borderline BMI, and the one they used for us was 30 points. If you're above 30 points, you're classified as obese.
Right.
When I was ultra fit, my BMI ranged between 28 and 29. Yeah. And I could do everything. I could do the 10K run. I can do all the PT stuff. I could patrol. I could go out and do exercises, carry my backpack and shit for 12, 14 hours. But my BMI was always 28, 29.
Mm.
And some people that were part of my section, their BMI was something like 14, 15. But physically, there was really no difference. You could still complete the task. So the BMI fat content thing, I can't understand how they work it. But I was able to do stuff, but then I was almost considered obese. Go figure.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how accurate these BMIs indicators are on these electronic scales, but I can't remember how to actually get to the menu system. I bought that scale like 7 years ago. I haven't got the instruction. How do you get to the BMI?
But it also changes as to how much you're hydrated as well.
I got a whole bunch of things. I just want to know what my weight is. That's all. Like I work everything else. As long as I know how heavy I am, I know I'm on target. It fluctuates 1.2 kilos a day, which is about normal. Goes from low to high, and after you lay a decent cable in the, yeah. Okay. One thing I did want to actually think there was a good point that they made here. If you are traveling to Thailand and need to take prescription medication, it is important to check with your doctor or pharmacist to see if some medication is available in Thailand. Right. So before you travel, get a doctor's certificate, right, as some evidence, right, that you are being treated, right, and maybe he'll have to do it in handwritten form and a typewritten version because most people can't read doctors' handwriting anyway, so you're going to have to get something working in that one.
Well, what they normally do is they use the letterhead of the pharmacy, the clinic they're at. It's written out, the prescriptions you take, the amount you take, and they sign it and stamp it because they do have a doctor's stamp. And I used that when I travelled to Japan. I was planning on using that coming here to Thailand, but the medication I was taking to assist me through my issues, two of them were what they called level 1 opioids. So there was no way on this planet I was ever going to get them in.
Right.
And my doctor and my specialist said there is no alternative. You'll have to wean yourself off it, which is what I tried to do and have been doing since I got here. But unfortunately, your body does get a tendency to use it to, as you said, counteract what is actually occurring. But I think there is also a lot of, especially for me, a lot of a mental component when it comes to the beneficiary of taking it versus the symptoms and how to deal with them in other ways. But anything that's a major code 1 prescription in Western countries is not able to be imported.
Yeah.
You can apply. There is a form, and I looked into it, and I can't for my life remember the website. It'll probably come to me in about 20 minutes. You can apply before you come in. Are you able to, because of medical condition, bring this in?
Yeah.
And then it's up to their discretion to say, yes, you can. But in most countries, you can only bring in a maximum of 1 month.
Yeah, so this one here is just saying, in addition to drugs listed above, there's a number of other restrictions on the importation of pharmaceutical products into Thailand. For example, you were limited to 30 days supply of medication. You must declare all medication when you enter the country. You should also be aware that counterfeit and substandard medications are a problem in Thailand, so it's important to only buy medication from reputable pharmacies. So there is a grey market process here in Thailand as well. So, like we have a grey market with pork products, like those millions of tons of illegal pork that are coming into the country. I'm pretty sure they're not bomb firing it. I'm pretty sure that's the sort of stuff you find at the wet markets out in the provinces. Now that's where it goes. It doesn't go into the mainstream supermarkets. It goes to what you see on those little tables with the flies flying around, and they got these little whirly-bird things with 2 little flappers on it, keeping the flies. Oh God, I think that it just always amuses me, that, doesn't it? But yeah, I guess it just adds flavour to the food, But yeah, so there are a number of different, caveats and cat and gotchas that you got to worry about. As I think in my case, the only thing that I got trapped was, I was quite an avid supporter of the, what was it? There was a paracetamol which had 15 or 20 milligrams of codeine in it. Panadol Forte.
Panadol Forte, yes.
Panadol Forte. That was my go-to in Australia. Basically, you take one of those and you're good. That's it. Just knocked everything in the head, and you can get on with your day. And that was usually my medication when I had the flu. After the first 12 hours of sore muscles and a sore throat, I'd take something like I still do take this from time to time. It's a betadine, right? That kills your sore throat problems. There is a Thai thing as well. Phlegmomile, which is sort of herbal remedy. I think that actually works better than the betadine, but again, I usually take them together. But that would be sort of part of my sinus, reaction when I had the sinus headaches coming in. I'd take, I could feel it going in my throat, hit those two, basically bypasses the throat, and then before he sits on my chest for 24 hours, and that was how I dealt with it. But of course, if I didn't have the Panadol Forte, that got me ready for the next morning, and I was back to work. I had a system, and I've never been out of work for more than probably 2 days off sick, from influenza. Probably spreading it to everybody, but I'm ready to go, Well, you guys took all your drugs, that's all right. I'm not putting that shit in my arm. I'm going to fight it the natural way, thanks, guys. But yeah, I probably spread it around the rest of the place. Hey, look, it's, share and enjoy. Sharing is caring, isn't it? Sharing is caring. Get it over and done with. I've already mutated the viral strain to something you can manage. Anyway, sorry, I get carried away. There is another. Getting back to what people are typing in here, Robert does make a good point. One of the things you will find is the price of pharmaceuticals generally here is a lot cheaper.
Oh yeah,
a lot cheaper. Seriously, like I get 14 days of this Miracade, which is the omeprazole, and what's it, 55 baht? That's what, $2.50. The chemist wouldn't even put on the shelf for $2.50.
No.
In Australia, what's that? That's what the lollies are more than that.
Yeah.
A lot of these sweets. What do you call them in America? Candies. The candy on the shelf is cheaper. I've got to think about the 3 different words we have for the kanom. Kanom. We got 4 different words for kanom. There we go. I'm multilingual. Okay. David, I'm 75 kilo. Well, it's one of those sort of things. There was knowing the stuff I've done over my course, you got to remember the stomach is no bigger than the size of your fist, right? In normal conditions.
Theoretically.
No, it is. That's in a genetically, correct human being. The stomach is about the size of your fist. Most of the food digestion is done in your small and large intestine, right? The stomach, all that does is that's the grinder. That's what grinds it up, right? And it depends on how quickly that grinding up goes into your small intestine, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so if you eat a meal, that's the meal size you had, right? And you should always leave a meal with a pang of hunger. I'm not quite full, because this is what I fell into here. That's how I always ate until I came to Thailand. And so I would do the same thing here, and then I fell into this trap. That meal costs 600 baht. Darling, you're not eating it all. Yeah, I'll finish it. I'll finish it.
That's a Western thing, that you don't leave the food on your plate.
Yeah,
you can't leave the table to eat everything. Blah blah blah.
There's people in Thailand dying of hunger. Yeah, there's people in the United States dying of hunger. There's people underneath the overpasses in San Francisco dying of hunger. Come on, it's around the world. Come on. Yeah. But yeah, it's that's it. Don't eat more than that's a typical Thai plateful. It's interesting. A normal size Thai plate of food, which you would have, normally at your breakfast and lunch with the family, smorgasbord that we get laid out every day. If effectively that's all you're doing, you're having that much food, but you have that like 5 or 6 times a day.
Yeah.
Right, and that's the thing. It keeps the stomach small, right? It does the processing, and I'm now doing that. I have about 4 or 5 small meals a day. Probably 2 big ones, lunch and dinner. But then I sort of, have a breakfast. I have a couple of muffins with my coffee. That's my breakfast. Afternoon tea would be sort of a juice and a sandwich. Right, and that fills out my stomach, but it never bloats my stomach anymore. And it seems to work for me. Not going to say it's going to work for you, but it's just the method I've used, and I just no longer eat Sonia's leftovers. She has to eat them all, and that's why she's putting on weight. She's ordering too much. Oh my God. Such is life. We're going to do more exercise. That's what it is. If I could burn more off, it'd be okay. We're just not burning enough of it off. And that's the thing. We build up these patterns in our life. And, okay, you've always had meals that size, and then you retire, and then you're eating the same size meals. No, well, think about how much energy you're expending. You're not doing as much, so don't eat as much. Yeah, it's a no-brainer. I think Ricky Gervais does a great comedy sketch on being fat. I think the one I remember the most is, always being congratulated by losing weight. And he says, stop this bullshit. It was my fault I got fat in the start. Why are you congratulating me, I'd have to go and find the sketch, but then, of course, I'd get a copyright strike. So
yeah.
It's blur. But yeah, so getting back to the whole, I'm still trying to catch up on what everybody's chatting about. I should probably let people talk rather than me. It says, Robert, 75 kilograms, a long time. It says it is, but nobody stocks it in order. Fiasco may carry an XR into hospitals. Yeah, so I'm guessing that you're sort of saying you can only get it through the hospital system because you have to go and get checked in, get a checkup by a doctor, and then they'll prescribe it to the pharmacy at the hospital. Is that what you're getting at? Yeah. Which is, again, that's the way they control these sort of things. Yes, you won't find certain drugs at pharmacies because again, they can't trust the pharmacists. The pharmacists are only allowed to handle a certain level of drug. Whereas in Australia, pharmacists are trusted with the higher levels, the tier one drugs as well, because they are all reported and they have to keep stock and have to be reported back to the central authorities and know who's taking what, blah, blah, blah. Trying to start my, okay, Billy, asking a YouTube, trying to start my YouTube channel. Could we do a collaboration? Billy, look, I'm always happy to hang out. Is that the other? Is that
Join
our
Discord first.
is that our Billy, the one that he comes in? Because he looks like he's the same. Because I can't tell from this now. It's got a different icon.
Yeah,
There was a
okay.
Bill. There was a Bill used to come in. Is that the same Bill?
Don't know.
The best thing to do is come into, like, we can't to do that sort of discussion here. We've got Discord, and you can talk about any bullshit you want, right? It does sort of say this is the bullshit channel on here, on here. No, that's right, the chat lobby and general bullshit. Just come in and just lay it on us. We're always I'm on here like 8 to 10 hours a day. I'm easy to get a hold of. Where am we going to now? Okay. But yeah, I'm always open to do collabs for anybody. Thai people never just have one plate. There is always 3 to 4 plates in the middle. Well, that's, yeah, we have a smorgasbord, and you put the cover over the top, and the rice is always in the rice cooker. And I never knew that. I had a rice cooker at home, and I would make, because I was only cooking for one, or I was making sort of, rice to do a stir fry, which I could reheat, but in Thailand, they put the rice in the cooker in the morning and they leave it simmer all day, and you can walk up to that at 6 o'clock in the evening and it's still warm. I never thought that rice kept in the cooker that well.
Mm.
I would never even tried that in Australia.
As long as it's moist. I just had a flashback when I was in Japan. Japan's very similar to Thailand. Rice is a staple in the diet.
Yep.
It was bad manners that if you went and got yourself a little bowl of rice, you know how you've just cut it into the fifth or the quarter, and it's got that blank spot. If you just walked away from the rice bowl after that, oh shit, not you have to fluff the rice. Every time someone takes rice out of the rice bowl, you have to fluff the rice.
In the container, or
in the container.
Oh, okay.
So the moisture continues to go through.
Well, we don't do that here. I think we're a bit lazy. I know when I take it out, I sort of scrape it and make it fluffy,
Yeah.
so it spoons out, so it doesn't come in one big clump on the plate, But
Yeah.
but that's how we eat. It's, you got your additives on the centre of the plate. There's usually 3 or 4 plates.
Yeah.
And I usually help myself to the fried chicken, which is probably not the good thing first in the morning, but it's always a great, taste bud tantalizer first in the morning, fried chicken. And Mum makes a really nice chicken, those little drumstick chicken wings.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh
boy,
yeah.
A couple of those, a couple of mouthfuls of rice, and then you often that's it. It's morning, it's what you do. But yeah, that's the thing. It's when we get used to it, it's just weird. But yeah, they don't eat big meals. They just eat what's on the thing, and they just help themselves to what they want. I'm actually quite surprised by how much actually gets thrown out at the end of the day. But it's Thai. It's the way they do it. If I had Monty here, you'd probably just go to town on that shit, Pima just, I'm not eating that shit. Difference between dogs and cats. If I had a bigger yard, I'd get a dog, but unfortunately, then I'd have a yard full of dog feces. So, yeah, we'll just stick with the cat. Anyway, Dallo's in the house. And boss, g'day, how you doing? Getting back to the whole thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just trying to get an idea of what drugs are people doing, because I don't know what mainstream drugs are. I don't know what people take,
Well, that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
The different thing in Thailand, they don't give you the original container. They don't give you that 20-page fact sheet that this is where it's from, this is what it could do, and everything like that. they give you
That's
the
this site, drugs.com
the
does that, yeah.
yeah the plastic bag. But then I've got one here. I've got the plastic bag, but it doesn't say anything on the actual tablet. So you don't know what name to look up. So you
Oh,
can't.
I've had to get out my, I've had to put on, my 2X glasses plus an extra set of glasses, right, sometimes just to read the, the really fine print in that, and then to sit there with the keyboard and type out the characters.
Yeah.
Tie's hard enough, but when it's like size of an ant fart, oh my God.
Yeah.
But yeah, because the Google app can't read it that small. Doesn't matter how hard you try. But yeah, knowing what drugs you are on and what they do that's the thing. I think I was leading that part of this discussion as well. Every time they prescribe me something from the pharmacy, before one goes in my mouth, the first thing I'm doing is I'm down and sort of, well, if I go to here, it'll give me a list of drugs. I mean, so that's the most popular one. But if I do omeprazole, it does say, what it can be. Oh, get away with the fucking ad blocker. Side effects. Stop using the medication. Call your doctor once you have severe stomach pain, diarrhea, and watery or bloody stools. New or unusual pain in your wrist, thighs, or hip or back. Well, my back is sore because I walk funny because of my toes, so I would take that off the list. Seizures, kidney problems. Well, I have to consider that in the kidney thing. That's why I take the Bragg's apple cider vinegar, which is like offsets the other sort of side of it. Low magnesium, dizziness. I do think I need to have more magnesium in my diet. I am taking the Centrum Silver Plus 50 plus, which has a bit of magnesium in it to help the magnesium. New or worsening symptoms of lupus, joint pain, skin rash on the cheeks or arms that worsen in sunlight. No, definitely none of those sort of things. But yeah, this is the thing. This website does, there's a few of them out there. I just think drugs.com is easy to type it in, Always look at what they got and sort of, don't assume that they know exactly what they're prescribing, because I know the way the pharmaceutical industry works, especially in Australia, because we have a bunch of pharmaceutical industries in our databases, and they work specifically to garner the coffers of the pharmaceutical industry with the doctors. The doctors are paid, right, to prescribe certain medications over others. Right, and they want to call me a fucking conspiracy theorist? Well, fucking go ahead, but just do your fucking own research. They are paid to do it. The doctors have told me they're paid to do it because I ask questions when I'm in the pharmacy. Because, I'm not here so much, but in Australia, they would sort of say, well, this is something, and they tell me something wrong. And I said, but I know that drug, and I know this problem here. And then they go, but... And then I prefer to have that one, thank you. And then they would have to concur, but they're basically pushing a drug that they're sponsored to push. He told me that. I can't give doctors' names out, of course.
No, do not do that.
But yeah, people say it doesn't happen. Bullshit. Do your own research. Okay, have you been flying? Don't start down that hole. Oh my God.
No. If you haven't been part of the stream for the last couple of weeks or 3 weeks, I haven't been that well. So I spoke to the doctor again today, or yesterday actually. It's weird. I've been a healthy guy apart from my my craziness in my cranium for most of my life, and to be hit by, and it's not COVID. I'll put my hand. I did the test one day after I felt sick,
Yeah.
and It's nothing to do with COVID. My body has just been hit by this virus, and it is. I get rid of one or two symptoms, and then it's sort of like, no, no, that's only innings number one. That's three strikes. We're going to innings number two, and you're going to need another three strikes. So I've gone from sort of having a runny nose, headache, and fever, to having a chest where I was coughing up half a lung every day, to now having sore thyroids and acute muscle pain. And all this is new territory for me, and I'm going, well, what's going on? So, uh, short answer, long. No, I haven't been flying because if you go up in the air, you need 100% concentration and thinking, okay, am I going to be required to go to the toilet in 10 minutes, or am I going to feel lightheaded in 10 minutes, or am I not going to be able to concentrate fully enough in 10 minutes? That's a no-go zone for me. I'm very safety conscious. So, and as Wazza just alluded to, it's annoying the absolute shit out of me. It is. It is. I mean, there's only so much ground school work you can do. I'm going through my textbooks and making sure I'm up to date with my weather, my my radio calls, how to do certain things theoretically. But no, I haven't been flying. And now you made me sad, Grovesy, and upset, and I'm going to go in my corner.
Well, I'm just answering that question. Or Bard's answering that question for Darlow, or for his friend, that is. Viagra's available in both brand name and generic forms. The brand name Viagra is more expensive than the generic sildenafil. What? I can't even say that name. What is that name?
Sildenafil.
Sildenafil. Okay. Well, that's what Google says.
Okay.
Sildenafil citrate. You can get Viagra from a pharmacy in Thailand. You'd need a prescription from your doctor. The price of Viagra varies. But of course, what they don't talk about, or do they? In addition, there are a number of ED drugs available. ED, what's ED?
Erectile dysfunction.
ED drugs. Are they ED drugs? Oh, okay. Sorry. Advanced Callus, Levetra, Spectra, and the ones you find on Sukhumvit Road, I would be concerned about those. I don't know where they're coming from, and you're not buying from a pharmacist, so they could have anything in them. So, but they have other drugs, and they're ones you buy on the street. They're actually more expensive than proper ones you buy in the pharmacy. I still haven't worked out why anybody walking down Sukhumvit would want to buy something from a street cart for erectile dysfunction, right? As opposed to walking across the road to a pharmacy and actually getting something that the pharmacist prescribes for half the price. This is the dumb shit that you see here in Thailand. I don't want to go there. But yeah, you can get other drugs that do the same thing. But it's all about research. I've got to try to condense something like this into a funny 15-minute, lunchtime video. I was up last night trying to think of how to put it into a video. My mind was firing at all sorts of. I was having a Todd moment last night. Probably woke up about half a dozen times last night with things going through my head, But yeah, that's my life. Sorry, I'm a bit weird. I look, okay, what movies did I watch last night? I watched Enigma, which is about the Enigma machine.
Yeah.
And the other one I watched was The Imitation Game with Bernard Cummersall, what is his name? Cumberbatch, yeah. Again, those two movies just had my mind just going completely in some sort of rabbit hole of, code and it was just when I went to bed, I just could not slow down.
we won't go into details, but Wazza and I had a discussion the other day for about 2 or 3 hours about how to build a certain engine.
Oh yeah,
And,
no, you'll think I'm
and
completely loopy for that. Sorry.
yeah, and we're just completely on different thought processes, of both going back to the same thing. And my poor old brain, after about 3 hours of that, I just said, "Wazza, I just can't do this. I mean, I can't even. No, enough's enough. Enough's enough. The brains needs a sort of nana nap."
No, yeah. As I say, this is why I'm trying to make this particular Saturday morning a spot where we're all fresh and bright. Right, the Amalgamated Union of Philosophers, Sages, Luminaries, and other professional thinking persons. Right, that's us. But it's just not a Saturday morning. This is what we do all the time. We might play games. But yeah, we do a lot of talking about all sorts of stuff. And we'd love you to join in and just, spend an hour and just hang out and just talk shit. But that's totally up to you. Not required, not enforced, not anything, but we enjoy your company. Okay, moving right along. Okay, so that stuff's great for your sunburn. What is it? What stuff's great for your sunburn? Oh, the erectile dysfunction. Keeps the shits off your legs. Okay, right. I find the old ways best to. I see pole stickers and some cotton. Okay, right, whatever. Use the splints. Oh my God! It's just, we're going down. That's why I only do it for an hour, because if we go for the second hour, I think it just degrades into something just ridiculous.
Dowlow's in the house. Dowlow is in the house.
How long we got to go? What is this? 9 minutes left. But yeah, so getting back to it. So anyway, hit me up. I probably, before I do this video, we'll cut the video Wednesday. Got any ideas of drugs you want to ask about? Hit it in the comments on this live stream thing and ask questions, because it gives me, if we don't get enough information, if I can't work out a way to make it fun and talk about a very serious problem, because I don't see anybody really doing what I'm thinking about, talking about this particular problem in a fun but serious way, and I think that's sort of style I've adopted on YouTube. Make it fun but a little bit serious. Try not to let the woes of the world sort of ingrate you. I've got enough problems. Ben showed a little bit of extra movement this week.
Awesome.
So it was funny. I actually thought I saw him smile. Tuesday or Monday it was. One of the uncles came round and gave him 500 baht. Right, and he has, no joke, he's been clutching onto that, right, since Monday. It's now Saturday, right? It's like he's had a little toy he's been holding. It's like just some sort of neuroplasticity thing that they're doing, but now he's holding money instead of the little plastic toy, right? Anyway, I saw the toy there Tuesday morning when Mum's getting doing the preparation and everything else, and I said, what's he doing? This is Uncle, give it to him. And I go, oh, okay. So Ben, you want to go 7 by Kanom, yeah,
Yeah.
So it's a Tong base, and it's when I was just making this joke about going and buying some junk food from 7-Eleven, and I no joke, I could swear I saw a smile come on his face.
Yeah.
Right, and he's clutching onto this money. He won't let it go. It was like you got definite resistance. He was putting up definite resistance to not let that money out of his hand. Little things like that. But we've seen other little movements. We've got jaw movement. I don't know. It still looks involuntary, but it's still getting there. The eyes are the connection we've got, and we're reading everything through the eyes and plus through muscle tensions. But we do feel that there has been some definite more noticeable movements this week. So we do feel that there's some mending going on up there. It's just going to still take some time.
Yeah.
This has been the biggest thing that's thrown my life into a complete curve ever since it happened. April? Ruined our Songkran, it didn't ruin it, just changed the reality tunnel.
Yeah.
That's it. change the reality tunnel, and we have a new reality, and we're just trying to blend the old reality back into the new reality, and get back to some sort of semblance of, life is to be fun and enjoyed. So make it fun, make it enjoyable. Anyway, enough of my little rants and raves and things like that. What do we got? 54 minutes. I just finished watching Glitch on Netflix. Glitch. Okay. It's about the dead coming back to life. Great series. Really? Okay. Somebody's got me some. We'll do a quick movie review. That's another thing I thought about talking about, because I love watching my movies, and I do have my Plex, and movie reviews. Talking about movies I watched this week.
Waz's Plex is my saviour at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. I can't sleep. So what do? Okay, I will watch something, and hopefully the white noise, and I can't tell you, and it's just one of my ways of dealing with it, how many times I've watched Stargate. Stargate SG-1.
It's coming back. It's coming back. It's coming.
How can they?
It's coming back.
How can they?
Gate room reckons it's coming back. Right, MGM are ready. They're ready to go. The only thing that's stopping them now is the writer's strike.
Yeah.
Right, that's what's stopping them now. And of course, the longer it goes on, there'll be another year delay before we see it. The gate room of collecting all these people together, talk about the situation, and the feeling is that it's going to be a continuation from Stargate SG-1 and Stargate Atlantis. There's already been some shots taken of a gate firing up underneath water in San Francisco Bay.
Right.
So I don't know how they fit that in, because the gate was inside. It was
No, because remember they brought Atlantis to San Francisco.
Yeah, but that was inside. But it was inside. That's inside the building, which they sunk.
Yeah.
Right. But that gate was firing up outside on the ground, not inside the building. So it's a bit weird. Right. And of course, we know Stargate law. You can't have no more than 2 gates on one planet.
No.
Right. And sorry.
Well, you can, but one overrides the other. Depending on
which has the most energy, yes, and you can make them flip. And sorry, we are absolute nerds when it comes to Stargate. Sorry. I haven't watched the series for 2 years. I'm going to sit down and do another Stargate binge. But yeah, such is life. So the gate room, they're 70%. They're sort of getting 70% that they're going to go ahead with a continuation of SG-1 and SG Atlantis, with cameos from all the original staff and everything else, but with a new team. And
you'd have to have cameos. You'd have to have.
Yeah, well, that's it. You're going to have to, what's it? President Jack O'Neill.
Well, Amanda Tapping's now a grandmother, I think. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. But
yeah. Anyway, I'm going to put that on my watch list and do a bit of research on that one. Looks interesting. It seems similar to, there was one where the had all these people appear from nowhere. They just over the last, they disappeared over 40 years, and they all appeared at once. Oh no, that was 4400. Yeah, that was 4400. Yeah, they all came back. 4400 people came back. That was a brilliant series too. I loved that. I think the writing got a bit haywire towards season 4, because they were really trying to build that as a direct competitor to the Heroes, rather than having a few select people that they could pull into the Heroes series with special gifts. They had 4,400 people, and one of those 4,400 had it a gift to basically, make a drug that if you took it, there was a 50% chance that you would have a power. The other 50% you would die. That was the biggest question. Would you take the drug? Mm-hmm. It's interesting, isn't it? Like, that's a real mindfuck, that one. That's a real mindfuck. Okay, you're going to take this drug and you are going to get a superpower, right? The thing is, the caveat is, there's a 50% chance the other side, if you took it and it didn't work, you die. Would you take the drug? You've got to forget, you're not going to get powers of like the Hulk or anything. You might get the ability to make a petal fall off a plant or something, or make blue into yellow. Like it's totally random. Yeah, it's a real weird one, that one. Yeah. Anyway, it sounds like it's along the same sort of thing. People come back from the grave, and yeah, okay. We'll put it on the watch list. Add it to my watch list. Anyway. That's our hour today. We've got some gaming to do. God, I haven't even looked at the game yet.
I gotta go buy some.
My
coffee.
trebuchets are built.
I'm gonna buy some coffee.
Well, I'm going to go and have a second coffee, because I got to get out of here I got to be at 7:30 tonight in the city. So, so I want to
Happy birthday, Chris.
Want to pop in to just say hello to Susie. Reminder that we're here next week. Probably pop into Ferns, say hello there, have a drink. So I'll probably aim to get there at 6. So I got to leave here at 4:30. I got to get a couple of things from the shop. So I got to taxi from here to Omnia at 4 o'clock. That's the way I'm panning it out. And then I get from the taxi from Omnia to Laksong, then the MRT, and yes. The adventure today. Gonna be fun.
You're gonna do the Frogger run. Yeah, doing the
Frogger
run.
Yeah. No, we got a little bridge at the supermarket. It's not you can actually don't do the Frogger run. God, that Frogger running across there. That's a recipe for death. That is. Yeah.
I don't miss that. I miss everything else about the place, but I don't miss my Frogger runs. I really don't.
Okay. Really don't. Anyway, we're going to get out of here. Got to find the little button to closing screen. Great of you guys to join us again. And don't forget, 10 o'clock Saturday morning, Thailand time. That's where we are. Come and join us. Come and chat with us. Well, just not me and Todd. We could have 2 dozen people in here talking rather than typing.
I still haven't got my Brady Bunch screenshot.
He wants 9 people in the Brady Bunch. Okay, we're going to make this happen for Todd. Right. Was it 100 baht for 2 hours? It's 155 minutes is white noise.
Okay, they've talked. Marky Mark and Mayor Groves are talking about what occurs.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going there. You guys can chat offline.
I actually thought that was another thing that came in my head last night. I was trying to think, because I've been thinking of doing a day in the life. So I was just trying to think, how do you start that? So the way I thought about starting that movie is, you got your camera. Where's my camera? Would be. Get my camera out of my bag. Holding the camera, and as I'm closing the door, coming out of the bedroom, no, you're not going to see that, but we're going to talk about our daily life. The opening line. Just because, it's all about the first 5 seconds of the video now, My watch hold time on videos is, after the first 30 seconds, I'm still holding about 60% viewers, which is quite high for the first 30 seconds of a video. So we've got a pretty good crew that stick around, and they tend to, 40% of the audience stays through to the end. There are actually some good numbers on our videos, plus our what do you call it, our CTR, click-through rate. I get 8-9% on CTR now. They're really making some improvements on YouTube and putting it in front of the right people, so their AI is improving. But yeah, I think that's all about a function of trying to stop all the bots from fucking the system up,
Hello, you're a legend.
Play the song, get off. Did someone say Stephen Monash? Well, he's been popping on videos and leaving get a grip comments, but I haven't.
Yeah.
He still
He's always having probably the microphone. He still cannot work out his microphone.
Because he can't install the app, right? There is a Discord app which has solved the problem. He keeps on using his browser, and his Chrome is fucked. His Chrome browser's fucked. He needs to rip it all out, start again. But again, I said, look, take that old 15-year laptop down to the shop and tell him to wipe and restart. But he's got all his work on it and everything else. He doesn't want to go through that. Anyway, enough of Stephen Monash's problem. He'll work it out eventually, and then we're good. Then he'll come back and chat with us. If he does pop in probably on a weekly basis, say hello. So we'll try to say hello, but that's about as far as we get. We know he's there. Hi, and bye. Anyway, closing screen, we're out of here, and we'll see you next week. We'll off in Twitch in maybe 5 to 10 minutes. Good, I'll reset. Okay, and make a coffee. Bye for now. Peace out, and stay cool.